The next program that we'll look at for our file encryption session is TrueCrypt. Now TrueCrypt is a free program. It's a very popular program, as a matter of fact, that allows for encrypting entire hard drives or USB keys and so forth. What it does is it creates encrypted volumes on a media. For example, it will create an encrypted volume on a hard drive. It doesn't have to take up the entire hard drive. And essentially this volume is a file. And then this file can be moved, backup, stored, and it is encrypted. Now you'll have to have TrueCrypt installed on any computer that you use this volume with. So if you want to transport this volume, this file to another computer, you'd have to have TrueCrypt installed on the other computer. But it creates encrypted volumes on media, hard drives, USB sticks, and so forth. It's very useful for storing personal and confidential information in encrypted form. Now normally you don't encrypt individual files with this particular program. You create an encrypted volume and then you store files in that volume. And when you mount that volume, it looks just like another hard drive on your computer, although it's an encrypted file on your computer. Now TrueCrypt is not really suitable for sending encrypted data across networks or the internet or email. Let's take a look at a demonstration of TrueCrypt and see how it works. We're back in our Windows XP box, and you can install TrueCrypt a couple of different ways, and I've chosen to install it as a single standalone. Now what we need to do is go ahead and execute TrueCrypt by double-clicking on the TrueCrypt.exe file. This is going to give us a pretty decent menu here. What I'd like to do is create a volume, okay? And how we do that is essentially selecting a file, and we're going to put this on our desktop, and we're just going to call it encryption test. And we're going to say open, and that's going to tell us where our encrypted file is. And then we're going to say create volume. And what we're going to do, we have several different options here. We can create a file container, which we're going to do, and it basically creates a virtual encrypted disk within a file. That's exactly what we're going to do. You should do this probably for most things you're going to do, but there are some more other options for more experienced users who require a little bit more than the standard encryption mechanism there. We can create a volume within a non-system partition or device, for example, like a USB stick, and we can encrypt an entire USB stick or a file within it. And we can even encrypt the entire system partition or system drive on our computers. Now do this with caution, because sometimes there can be issues with booting a computer or retrieving the data once it's encrypted. Let's just keep things simple for now and create a file container. We're going to go with a standard TrueCrypt volume. However, TrueCrypt has the option of also giving us a hidden TrueCrypt volume. And what happens is, if someone were to force us to try to reveal our password and we revealed it, basically they would see the standard TrueCrypt volume, but they wouldn't see a hidden one that we had. So we can actually doubly encrypt, if you will, a TrueCrypt volume. Let's stick with the standard and say next. Now let's go ahead and select our file. Where do we want to put this? We're going to put it on our desktop. We're going to call it encryption test. We're going to say next. Now it's going to ask us what encryption algorithm we want to use. Now we have a wide variety of options that we can use, and AES is a pretty good encryption algorithm, so we're going to stick with it. We can also use different hash algorithms if we like. Now we're going to click next, and we need to tell it how big this encrypted volume is going to be. 500 meg, 1000 meg, or gig, whatever. It tells us how much free space we have on the drive, and we can make it pretty big, but let's just keep it simple again and go with 500 meg. We're going to click next. Now this is the point where we tell it our password, and you have the option to display the password, which I'm not going to do, but I'm going to put in a complex password for it. I'm going to say next. And it's warning me that my password is less than 20 characters. It says that less than 20 characters is a short password. I'm going to go ahead and keep my password. It's actually about 10 characters. And now what it's going to do is develop the encryption key for it. Now it uses a really interesting method of developing that encryption key. It's telling me I need to move my mouse as randomly as possible within this window. The longer I move it, the better. What it's doing is it's taking these random mouse movements and using the information from them, the coordinates, and generating a random key. And that's actually a pretty cool system. So the longer you move the mouse around and the more you move it, the stronger the key that it will develop. Once you're done with that, once you decide you've done it long enough and it's strong enough, just click Format, and it's going to start encrypting your volume. It's going to develop your keys, and this can take a couple of minutes. As you can see, it's encrypting it, and it only has a few seconds left. And once it's done, then we'll be able to we have the option of doing another one or clicking Exit. Now we click Exit. That puts us back here where we were. Now let's take a look and see what it did. Basically, here is our encrypted file. Now this file doesn't do anything right now. It's just an encrypted file. We can't actually open it unless we have TrueCrypt. So let's go ahead and open TrueCrypt. And what we want to do is mount it to a volume. So let's click on a drive letter up here and click Mount. Now when we mount a volume, what we're doing is we're assigning a file or a folder a drive letter number so that it appears like it's a regular drive. Now it wants to know what our password is, of course. So we use the password that we used earlier when we created it. And now we should have a 500 meg drive, the N drive, that's actually encrypted. Let's see what we got. Let's go to My Computer. And voila, local disk N. This is actually an encrypted file on our computer. Now we can move files to this all day long. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and move Grandma's top secret cookie recipe into there. And it's encrypted. Now notice that unlike Windows EFS, we don't get a different color or anything like that for the file. We just know that it is because it's an encrypted TrueCrypt volume. Now we can close this, and when we want to end our use of this volume for right now, we can dismount it, and now there's the file that it is, the encrypted file. It's not mounted. No one can access it. It doesn't do anything. We can move it, we can copy it, we can take it somewhere, we can use it on another computer as long as we have TrueCrypt loaded and we remember our password. So that's essentially all there is to TrueCrypt. We didn't cover all the different options you can use. It's a very good piece of software, a very secure piece of software. A lot of security professionals use it. That tells you how good it is. It's not just something that's only for the ordinary user. And it has many different options that will probably suit you and your encryption needs.